Well, welcome back. I've got a car I just bought. 2004 Toyota Sienna 3.3 liter, 95,000 miles on it. It's due for a timing belt. So, brought it home today, right into the garage. Gonna do a timing belt in it. I always go through cars anyway when I buy them. I change the fluids out, but this one's 90,000 miles, should have the timing belt done. So, I know it hasn't been done. We're gonna do it. I've got the kit here already. We're just gonna start tearing this apart and do the maintenance. This is just maintenance, timing belt maintenance. First things first, passenger side, the petcock, the drain, is right down the bottom on this side. Chances of me getting it with my hand, slim to none. Usually these are locked up pretty good. Let me get a pair of pliers. I'm going to drain this, drain the coolant out of it because we're doing a water pump at the same time. That's draining. Just let it drain. I'm going to do my top hose here. Get that out of the way. I'm probably going to end up replacing it anyway. Close to 95,000 miles. Wouldn't hurt to do it. We're going to have to undo this wire harness here, unclip it. See if we can do that without breaking everything, because they usually break. First, I'm going to just take this belt off. So there's a 12mm bolt here. It's on the faces that way. It'll loosen that, and then this is your adjustment. So I'm going to break that 12mm loose. Let's see if I've got enough tension off it to actually move it with this wrench. Oh. Hey, what? Doesn't feel very good. Let me turn it back in for a second. I hope this is not a harbinger of how things are going to go. I think that just broke. It just broke off. Great, good start. First bolt broke right off. Looks like we'll be pulling the alternator off of there to get that out and fix that. Super. I've got to loosen the pivot in here so I can loosen this belt. That pivot is probably 14. Well, let's hope they all don't go like that. No, that one didn't. That should be enough for me to move that. Yeah, that's all the way down now. Okay, there's my belt. I will have to take this out. Normally I wouldn't have to take this out, but I'm going to have to take that out because I broke a bolt off. Let's just start taking the brackets off here. Get them undone. Take that off. Of course, put my bolts right back in it. Set them up here. I believe this pivot bolt, and there's another 12mm bracket, that's going to have to come out as well. So there's that bracket. Got to get them do this bolt and this bolt. They're really long and they like to break. They go way down. They're probably 6 inches, 7 inches long. And they come down to the bottom here. I may sneak in and heat them. We'll see how they behave. A lot of times they just like to break off basically in the mount, so we will see. Get them broken loose here. Looks like everything's kind of 14. Well, that's got to come out somehow. Really? Got to be able to get it out of here because I won't be able to place the mount otherwise. Wow. Whoa. Yeah, barely. It will come out though. There it is. So now, I'm going to lose my side pieces here. There it is. That's what I just took out. Put my bolts back through it where they were. Just leave them in there so I don't have to hunt them down. But that is tight going in and out of there. Just enough room to get that out. All right, so now you get to these. I'll do this easy one first, 14. Didn't have it up. Let's see how this goes. Moving back and forth. There you go. Now, if I can get the back one, I'll be really happy. Take my time as much as I can on this because I really don't want to break these. I have to. I got one broken bolt. I don't need more. I can put a breaker bar in here, but my fear with the breaker bars, I'm going to snap it right off. Just trying to get it to move a little bit. If I can get it to move. Back and forth. You feel it moving a little bit and then it binds up. That's all corrosion. That's all that is. Okay, I got the crack loose. Once I got it cracked loose, I actually got it out of there without breaking it. That's, you don't know how good that makes me feel. Because man, they like to break. All right, there's the top half. Wow, that's kicking my butt. That's got a pin in the middle. Corrosion. Come on. Now that I know this thing comes off of here, at some point. Come on. There it goes. Man, oh man. That's just a pin in the middle. Now I can get at this cover a lot easier. All right, let's see if I can get the top half out. Let's see if I got everything. Yeah, I think that's just easy in the back there. There it is. Oh, there we go. Almost. There it is. So there's your cover. All the way in the back. That was tough to get to. This is, I don't think that's broken. No, it just slides down over that bolt. One there. One, two, three, four, five, six. This is the one that I was loosening down right under that power steering belt to let go of that tab, that top tab. All right, set that aside. So now I'm going to have to come in through the wheel well. I'm going to undo the power steering bracket there. Get that power steering belt off. Looks like it's a couple of 12 millimeters there. Undo the bottom bolts, pull the crank pulley, and do the rest of it. But we're getting there, slowly. Never done one of this particular engine, but I knew these had a tendency to break, these two long bolts that go down in there, but I didn't realize it was pinned. If I'd known it was pinned, I could have just got to take this nut off. It's blocking me here. Then I could have made my life a lot easier, but well, you get to make your life easier. Does that come off? Or is it blocked in by the cover? Now it's blocked in by the cover. It's tucked in behind that cover. All right, next is through the wheel well. crank pulley, and power steering belt. I could probably do them from up here, it'd be easier from down underneath, I think, but I can reach them from here. I might just do that now. I think that's another 12. A couple other 12s. Got to take that bracket off of there. That way I can get that belt off and out of my way. And start working on the rest of it. Let me see if I can break those 2 power steering. You can do these from the wheel, through the wheel well, but I don't have the wheel off yet. I don't have it jacked up, so I'm going to, well, I'm going to do it from up here if I can. We'll see. I don't think it's going to come out there. There you go. Oh man, I must have didn't drop it all the way down there, huh? Almost did. That bolt and that bolt. Just a little bracket sits down there, just the power steering pump. That's all it is. Set that over here. So this right here, oh, keep hitting that thing. This right here, it slides in behind the bottom cover, and there's a bolt that's tightened up to hold it in place. So I had to loosen that a little bit. That's something, you can't see it, but it's over here. It's right there. Hopefully you can see it. I'm right at the end of my flashlight. I had to loosen it up to slide that out. I want to talk a little bit about getting the crank bolt off, which I've done at this point, but I'll show you the difference here. And they make these in different sizes. These 2 sockets right here. Try to get it out in front of you here. 22 millimeter, both of them. But if you look at the one, this is a normal, I say normal, regular 22 millimeter impact. This is one made for getting crank bolts off. You see how bigger it is and how much thicker. It's got about 3 times the mass, maybe between 3 and 4 times the mass. F equals ma, force equals mass times acceleration. A lot more force. I had this on my gun, couldn't budge the crankshaft bolt. Wouldn't move at all. This one, about 5 seconds, backed it right off. A lot more force. You're going to need one of these at a minimum. And this is true of Toyotas and Hondas. To get these bolts off, they just, for some reason, they can be just brutally tight, and even sometimes these don't work and you have to resort to other methods, but you can see how much bigger that one is. Same size. You're going to need that to get the crank bolt off. I was able to get the pulley, the belt off the power steering pulley. This bracket down here, I'm trying to show you this, right here, that's the bracket that moves. To loosen it up, you have to push this bracket up towards the top, and to tighten it, you have to push it down. So I took this pry bar and a hammer and tapped on from underneath and tapped on this edge of this bracket and moved it up and down. This bolt back here, the 12 millimeter bolt, hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to point it to you. That's kind of a pivot. You may have to loosen that up a little bit in order to get this to move. This needs to move because back in here, right at the tip of the pry bar there, is one bolt for the hydraulic tensioner, and then down here is the other bolt. When you get this belt ready to come out after you've set the timing, you've got to take these 2 bolts out and remove this tensioner. This bracket gets in the way, so you have to be able to move it up and down, not only to tighten the power steering belt, but you need to be able to move it up and down to get those 2 bolts to get that tensioner out. So look at the face front of the crank pulley. As I've said before, I already loosened this up with the impact and that bigger socket that I showed, the heavier socket. Try to do this without blocking all your light. I don't know how well that's going to work, but try to get you some. Alright, we'll just set that aside. I'm trying to work around the camera and not block all the light that you have here. Just got to get these installed. And I'll fight it for half an hour. All right. One on either side here. I just want to make sure I have these in there, not just a couple threads. Let's just say it that way. Okay. Here it comes. Didn't have much right off of there. Get out of your light. That's it, basically. Now I can finish taking that lower cover off. I'll show you once I get out. It's kind of hard to show them, but you can see this one right here. That's the bottom one. There's a couple others up underneath there that you can't see. Let me get that cover off, and then I'll show you what it looks like. I just want to show you that bottom cover so you can see where the bolt hole locations are. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. That's how that goes. Right? You see all the gear marks kind of in the back. I want to put it back on the same way, basically. Don't flip it around, keep it like that. So I put my crank bolt in there temporarily, and what I needed to do was turn it clockwise. So you can see this, I'm going to point to it. You see that little dot up there? Right there? Right next, just to the right of that magnet? Right there. And then up, there's a little mark right above it, right there. Those have to be lined up before you take the belt off. So that little nub there and that little dot. And then you got to go up top and you want to check it up top. So up top, you see this little V notch in the cover next to my thumb there. And then underneath of that, you'll see this little line right here. And on the spoke, there's a little dot. Can't really see it, but see if I can put you down here and not be so close you can't see anything, which could be the case. I'll give you some light. Try to at least. Let's see. Oh boy. So, see that little dot? And then right above it, you can see the line that's on the tooth of the gear. Those two have to line up with this little notch in the timing cover, right here. Right there, next to my thumb. And then I have to check the back one, but there'll be a similar one, and I can see, if you look back there, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I can just see the dot in the spoke of the cam gear. Let's see if I can zoom you in some. You can kind of see that dot. I'm going to push that harness up out of the way, and if you look at the top of that gear, I can see the line. I don't know if you can see that on camera. There it is. What I'm going to do is make sure that's lined up with a notch in the back. That means that's lined up with a notch, and the crank gear and crankshaft is lined up with the dot and the mark in the timing in the front of the engine there. Once you have all three like that, and then we're going to go and remove that hydraulic tensioner right there and get that out of the way so we can get the belt out. At the bottom half of this motor mount, I've got the bolts off of it. This one you can't get, it hits the frame. Just get it loose and then push it back in. This, you have enough room. You should be able to just tip this up. I just did this, come on. Slide it off of there like that and get it out of the way. There's that long bolt right there. Just leave that in there. So I thought I'd just show you this from the timing belt water pump kit that Eisen, or Eisen, I don't know how you say it, shows. And it shows you the marking. So the back cam, that's a connector to push the wiring harness on, and it has a little line. That would line up to that, which it does. I just checked it with a mirror. It's hard to see. The front one has a little dimple in the top of the timing cover. That lines up. And at the bottom, you have this dot that lines up with the little dimple in the front of the block. All three are lined up. I'm going to try to show you this. This is the bottom bolt for the hydraulic tensioner. Everything's lined up now. My timing marks are lined up on the back cam, front cam, crankshaft. This bolt right here, I think I can get to it. I'm going to undo that, crack that loose. Then we're going to have to move this arm a little bit down so I can get at that top bolt. It's a little difficult to get at it, but I think you can do it. So I probably block you when I'm doing this, but I think it's 12 millimeter. It is. All right, so the bottom one's cracked loose now. I want to get that top one. I've got to move that arm to get at it. So how I move this arm, I just take my pry bar, put it on there, tap it. I'm going to tap it all the way down as far as I can go, basically. And I think I'll open up that so I can get at that bolt. Dropping off of that thing. I think that's down as far as we go. There's not a lot of room to get at it, but I know it can be done. I know you can't see. Guess what? I can't see there. I'm on it all the way. I'm definitely down on the thing. The bottom bolt is longer, much longer. We'll just stick them back in here for now. Bottom bolt longer. Set it out of the way. All right, the pulley, or tensioner pulley, I guess it is. New one in the kit. Make it easy to get off. 10 millimeter hex. Oh, that's tight. Man, is it tight. Wow. There it goes. Boy, that was tight. My small gun, I couldn't get it with my small gun. I didn't want to put my big gun on it. Breaker bar, but there it is. Oh, spacer. Spacer came out of there. Actually, a washer on the back of the. I'll show you in a second here. So on the back of that, when you pull that off, there's a spacer behind it, like this. Make sure it goes back on there. I'll just set that up here for now. And now I have plenty of room. I should be able to get my belt off without any problem. Not having to fight with it. Should be. There's that. Okay. How old's this belt? I think it's OEM.